In a shocking turn of events, Ambassador Adonia Ayebare, Uganda's permanent representative to the United Nations, is now under investigation by the FBI. The allegations are grave. Millions of dollars funneled through foreign bank accounts, shell companies, and offshore schemes. Illegal financial dealings that could shake not only Uganda's political elite, but its standing on the world stage and expose the deep-rooted corruption within the Museveni government. Ayebale, a man who has long been seen as a key player in Ugandan diplomacy, is now teetering on the brink of deportation from the United States. The weight of these accusations threatens to rip apart his diplomatic career and could send shockwaves through the corridors of power in Kampala. It's not just Ayebale who's at risk. If proven true, this could expose a network of corruption within Uganda's government, deeply tying this scandal to high-level officials, contracts, and aid programs. Broadly, Ayebale is under investigation by the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, for allegations of money laundering and corruption, accusations that reach far beyond the borders of the United States. The ambassador is accused of orchestrating a scheme that siphoned millions of dollars into foreign bank accounts through offshore shell companies. But Ayebale is no rogue actor. His ties run deep within the ruling NRM party, a party that thrives on cronyism, where loyalty to President Yoweri Museveni is rewarded with impunity. The loyalty of Uganda's ambassadors isn't to the Ugandan people they're supposed to serve, nor to the international institutions they represent. It's to Museveni, the man who has ruled Uganda with an iron fist for nearly 4 decades. These diplomats, handpicked by Museveni himself, know full well that their survival and success depend not on competence, but on their loyalty to him. For years, these ambassadors have operated under the shield of diplomatic immunity, confident that they would never be held accountable for their actions back home. Because under Museveni's regime, corruption is not only tolerated, but encouraged. Museveni's close allies are untouchable, protected by a government that has long ceased to serve the interests of its people. The FBI isn't playing games. Their investigation isn't limited to U.S. borders. This case reaches into the heart of Uganda's ruling class. Ayebale is accused of masterminding a scheme that siphoned millions into offshore accounts, vast amounts of money that were never meant for him or his allies. The FBI's investigation into Ayebale is significant, not just because of the scale of the corruption involved, but because it shines a light on the broader culture of impunity within Uganda's ruling elite. For too long, corruption has been allowed to flourish, shielded by a regime that sees accountability as a threat to its survival. The diplomats representing Uganda on the world stage are no exception. They serve at the pleasure of Museveni, and their positions are not earned through merit or competence, but through their willingness to protect the interests of the regime. The allegations against Ayebale suggest that this corruption runs deep. According to sources within the investigation, the ambassador is linked to multiple offshore accounts and shell companies, which were used to move large sums of money that is believed to have come from corrupt dealings back in Uganda. These dealings potentially involve government contracts and international aid programs, which were intended to help Uganda's struggling population, but were instead diverted for personal gain. This isn't just about one diplomat. It's a system of corruption that has been allowed to thrive under Museveni's rule, where loyalty to the regime is rewarded and accountability is non-existent. As the investigation progresses, it becomes increasingly clear that Ayebale is just one cog in a much larger machine. His ties to Museveni and the NRM are emblematic of a regime that has prioritized personal enrichment over the welfare of its people. The FBI's involvement in this case suggests that the U.S. government is taking these allegations very seriously. The FBI's International Corruption Unit, which specializes in tracking global financial crimes, is believed to be leading the investigation. This unit is known for its ability to unravel complex financial networks, and Ayebale's case could be just the beginning of a much larger probe into the corruption that has plagued Uganda for years. But while the U.S. government is pursuing justice, back in Uganda, the story is very different. Museveni's regime has long turned a blind eye to corruption within its ranks, allowing his loyalists to operate with impunity. Ayebale, like so many others, likely feels confident that even if the allegations are proven, he will remain untouched by Ugandan law. Museveni has shown time and time again that he will not hold his allies accountable for their misdeeds. especially not when they are instrumental in maintaining his grip on power. This culture of impunity has created a generation of corrupt officials who operate with the absolute certainty that as long as they remain loyal to Museveni, they are untouchable. They know that Uganda's legal system, under the control of the regime, will never pursue them. They are free to steal, to plunder, to enrich themselves, all while the Ugandan people are left to suffer in poverty and oppression. And so the cycle of corruption continues, fed by the complicity of those in power, while ordinary Ugandans pay the price. The potential consequences of this case are far-reaching. If Ayebare is found guilty, it could set a precedent that challenges the very foundation of Museveni's regime. The U.S. has long been a key ally of Uganda, providing billions in aid over the years. But this case could force the U.S. to reevaluate its relationship with Uganda. Ayebare's deportation, if it happens, would be a clear signal that the U.S. will no longer tolerate corruption at the highest levels of government. As the FBI continues its investigation, more details are expected to emerge about Ayebare's alleged crimes and the extent of the corruption network he was a part of. Diplomatic sources suggest that formal charges could be brought against him if sufficient evidence is uncovered, and the U.S. government is reportedly exploring legal options to override Ayebare's diplomatic immunity in light of the severity of the charges. But even as this investigation unfolds, there are larger questions that remain unanswered. What will this mean for the future of Uganda's diplomatic corps? Will Museveni continue to appoint loyalists who are more interested in protecting their personal interests than in serving their country? And perhaps the most important question of all, will the people of Uganda ever see true justice for the corruption that has been allowed to flourish under Museveni's regime? Thank you for watching. If you found this video useful and informative, please consider subscribing to our channel, JB Muwange Podcasts. Share your thoughts in the comments and let us know your perspective on this crucial issue. Spread this message to your friends and ask them what they think about this important topic. Thank you and have a wonderful day.